Nyssa again. Welcome back to the Level Up Festival where we share innovative stories and point teams towards success with our bestness. Thank you for joining us. In this session, we'll be exploring the topic of managing time, stress, and commitments with Miss Krista Ali. And honestly, I think she's such an inspiration. Krista is a clinical psychologist attached to the Investigations and Interventions Unit of the Children's Authority, with a bachelor's degree in psychology and sociology and a master's degree in clinical psychology from the University of the West Indies. Miss Ali has been a practicing clinician for 6 years in the field of child protection and child advocacy. She's also trained in critical stress management and conducts trauma intervention with children and families across the nation. Krista, I can't wait for your presentation. The floor is all yours.
Hi. So nice to talk to you again. Guys, I'm so happy to be here at this Level Up Festival. So Nyssa, you were talking about me then. That sounded like a whole lot. So, what I just wanted to start off by saying is that during my time doing all those things, getting my degree and now working full time, I've had to learn a lot about managing time, managing stress, and managing commitments. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So let's get right into it, right? So what is time management, right? We've been pulled in all these different directions. Even during this time where we've been in a pandemic for over like a year and a half now, we still feel like so much stuff is going on, right? But in our society, I feel like procrastination is part of what we do. I am guilty of it sometimes. We procrastinate, we wait for the last minute. But, getting things done quickly and getting things done within an appropriate time and managing our time is really, really helpful. It helps us to make better decisions. It increases productivity. It reduces our anxiety and gives us more time to actually relax. I want you to think about this for a second. I'm watching Netflix, but I know that I have something due. Like, let's say some kind of presentation or an assignment or something. Yeah, I might be relaxing, watching the Netflix, but am I really focused, or am I wondering about this thing that I actually need to do to get done? So that can't really count as being totally relaxed, right? It just increases the anxiety when you have stuff to do. So today what I want to talk about is a few little time management tips for all of us, right? Whether we're studying, whether we're in between, waiting for school to start back, waiting on the next step, whether we're working, it's really important to write down your schedule, all the things that we know we have no control over, right? Like class times and assignment dates, write down those things first, right? Then the next part is to include all of the things that we're responsible for, like those chores, right? We don't want to make mommy and daddy upset by not fitting in the chores into our schedule. So be sure to include chores, and then your homework, put in time for homework. And then from there, you could include time for fun activities, right? You can use time management tools like getting a journal, right? Like this one that I have right here. Not sure if you all can see this. Yeah. A calendar, just a basic calendar, or even apps on your phones, because everything can be found on your phone now, right, guys? Developing a routine that's going to work for you is super important. Do you like to get up early and do your stuff? Do you prefer to do it at night? Later on, we're going to talk more about, doing all of this work at night. That's not too good for you all the time, okay? Get out of your comfort zone and try new routines and schedules, right? If you're accustomed doing stuff only at night, hey, try it out differently. Set an alarm, get up early, see if you could turn yourself into an early bird and get stuff done quickly, right? Set daily, weekly, and monthly goals for yourself. That way you know what you want to achieve, and then you're going to take these steps to achieve it. And of course, always remember to reward yourself for these accomplishments. So after you achieve those goals, give yourself a little reward. Another really, really important thing, because I know that we could get really caught up in gaming and watching the Netflix, HBO Max, just playing on your phone and scrolling through social media, right? Set limits for those things when we have a lot of things that we know we need to get done. If you're around just lazing around and you don't really have much to do, well, all right, you can spend more time on that. But when we have things to get done, a really important time management tip is to set limits on those things or even use them as a reward. So let's say I do 2 hours of studying, maybe I can reward myself with one episode on Netflix, maybe, or scrolling through social media for like a half an hour, right? Then it's super important to rest and relax. So dedicate 1 day per week for just relaxation. But of course, remember to include your daily responsibilities, like those chores and stuff. Because like I said, we don't want mommy and daddy to be upset, right? So those are just some time management tips that I have for you guys. Alrighty. Now, let's look at how to manage commitment under time constraints, right? You're feeling like you're being pulled in all sorts of directions. At your age, I know that you all are trying out new things. You want to do swimming, dancing, this, maybe an internship. You have CXC, you have CAPE going on, all sorts of things going on. And then you want to have time to socialize and spend with your friends too, right? So how do we manage all of these commitments, right? Because there's only a certain number of hours in the day. There's only a certain number of days in the week. So in the same way that we're accountable for things like our money, and we have to, account for what I did with it or where it went. Like, let's say your what they call this thing, the money that you get every week that to spend, right? We have to account for our time in the same way, right? So time is just as important, right? And actually, time is the one thing that we're not going to get back. We could always get money from, other places, right? So managing our commitments when we have some time constraints is really important that we prioritize and that we find balance, right? Sometimes you have to ask yourself, well, hey, am I actually doing too much? Am I being pulled in too many different directions? What you really need to do is sit down and prioritize. Which ones of these things am I most excited about, right? Which one am I gaining the most from? Which one isn't directly in line with what the goals that I have set out for myself, right? You have to go with your guts on it, but we have to remember that we can't be pulled in too many directions. Another really important thing to remember when we have all of these commitments is that sometimes it's okay to say no, right? We don't have to attend every single event. We don't have to do every single thing, right? Because that's going to take a really, really difficult toll on our bodies, right? And that's going to come in a little while when we start talking about stress, right? So with assignments or tasks, try to knock out the smaller and easier ones first, right? So you see this little guy here, this little stick figure, he has a long to-do list, right? Whichever ones you're gonna get done quicker and easier, and it's just simpler things to do, just get those done first, right? And then those bigger assignments, try breaking it up into smaller tasks and then getting them done like that, right? You're gonna feel super accomplished at the end of it, and that's gonna be really good for your motivation and drive. So now we want to talk about how do we turn stress into a positive thing. And I know that sounds weird because when we think of stress, we don't really think about something positive, right? I just think about being overwhelmed and, just not being able to cope. And that's essentially what stress is, right? Stress is when we feel overwhelmed and unable to cope with mental and emotional pressures. So this is when we're feeling like, oh my God, I just have so much things to do. How am I ever going to be done? And then you start saying to yourself, oh God, I can't do this. I don't want to do this anymore. This just needs to be over, right? So how do we turn that into a positive thing, right? Before we look at that, let's look at some of the effects of stress on our body, right? Stress has a lot of short-term effects on almost every single part of our body that can turn into real problems later on if we continue, right? So, your body gets really, really stressed out and your heart just starts to beat faster, right? You get some tummy issues and things like that. You start breaking out, all these kind of things, right? And actually, your body starts releasing this hormone called cortisol, which actually prevents you from losing weight and making exercise harder and things like that, which we really don't want, right, guys? Because, this can have a lot of effects for us later on and in the long term, right? Including mental health problems. You start developing anxiety, panic attacks, things like that. We don't really want that, guys. So let's see. How do we turn stress into a positive? So guys, stress isn't always bad in the short term, right? The pressure that stress actually puts into your body gets us through difficult situations. Like if we have an exam or an interview to do, maybe give us speech somewhere, that little bit of butterflies in your stomach, as we like to say, that actually helps our body to get through difficult situations, right? So stress actually helps us to stay focused and alert until things are under control. So hey, that can actually help us to be more productive in that short-term time, get as much stuff done, plan it out, as I was saying earlier, make a list of all the things you have to do, break it up into different tasks, and then get it done from there, right? Another way that we can turn stress into a positive, because when we're stressed out, we're just worrying all the time. And you're like, oh my God, can I even do this? What's going to happen? Right? But then you really need to ask yourself, because you went into yourself, this can go really badly. What if I fail all my exams? That's going to suck, right? But what we need to do is twist that around and start asking ourselves, hey, what if this actually goes right though? Like what if something good happens? What if something good comes out of this? What if I succeed? What if I win? Right? And that's gonna actually take that stress out of your body and create something different, make you feel hopeful. Yeah. So stress can actually teach us as well just how to let go. Sometimes we have to realize that a lot of these things that we're really stressed out about, we don't have much control over it, right? Things that we can't control, that's what we need to let go of, right? So these stress symptoms to all of these things I was talking about before, you're feeling like your heart is just speeding up, you're feeling like your tummy is giving trouble, my skin is breaking out. All of this lets us know that something is really, really off, right? It lets us know that we're working too hard, we're worrying too much, we might be doing too much. So guys, at that point, we need to tell ourselves to just relax, right? And here we have some different tips for managing stress, right? So we have some deep breathing exercises. We can do visualization, relaxation, and all of these things can actually be found on YouTube. When I feel really stressed out, which can affect our sleep as well, I just wanna lie down and try to sleep, and my body feels so tense, I just go on YouTube and I look up a visualization relaxation, and that is what I use. We can also build a stress wall where you just kind of think about this wall that's blocking you from all your stress, and then you're pelting balls at it, right? And these balls represent our stress and things that we're worried about, and it's just bouncing straight off, right? We can exercise, we can use music, we can just enjoy our hobbies, just be dancing, talking to our friends, spending time with our family. So now I have an exercise here that I actually want to do with the hosts. So we're going to come back to that, right? And I just wanted to talk about here, where can I turn to for help, right? Because sometimes things can get really overwhelming, right? And then sometimes, we might need intervention from the adults in our life to just help us out a little bit. So we can call the Children's Authority hotline. They have a free hotline that works 24/7, right? At 996 or 800 2014. We can go to Childline. They have a free helpline as well at 131 or 800 4321. Talk to your friends at the Heroes Foundation, or talk to your teacher, your parents, or another trusted adult. Back to you, Nyssa.
Thank you, Miss Ali. For those tips. I could really use those tips on how to turn stress into a positive. Now we invite Zion, who will join us in this discussion.
Good afternoon, all. I'm so excited to join this thought provoking session, which is important for the development of our future ambitions in life. Back to you, Miss Ali. Let's engage in this activity that you have planned.
Oh, right. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so what I wanted to do is teach you guys just one skill that we can use when we're stressed out, right? You guys hearing me? Yeah. Okay,
Yes,
good.
so there's a bit of static.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, so what I want to do is something called safe space. And what this is really about is taking a mental vacation at any time of the day. Doesn't that sound awesome? Yeah. All righty. So what I want you guys to do is just close your eyes for me. Okay. Go to that happy place, right? I want you to think about a scene. Think about something that's really relaxing for you. Now, this can be somewhere that you've been before, or it could be a totally made up place, or it can be somewhere that you want to go, right? Maybe like Hawaii, maybe some picture you've seen in a movie, right? I just want you to think about everything that you know about that place. If it's a real place, think of all of the different little details. If it's not a real place, think about all the fun stuff that you're probably seeing there, right? You might be floating on a cloud, you might be swimming in the ocean, you might be relaxing on a beach. Yeah? So just think about that and let it just fill you up. Just focus on that completely. Think about what you're doing. Am I sitting? Am I lying down? Am I standing up? How am I feeling? Just focus on that for a second. Think about all the things that you're seeing around you. Look to your left. What do you see? Now look to your right. What's coming up there? How is the ground feeling beneath your feet if you're on the ground? Look forward. What do you see there? Think about what you can smell. Really breathe it in. Take it all in. Think about just how it feels on your body. Just be completely at peace. Right now, you're there alone. You're there by yourself. Now, in this safe space, you can let in whoever you want to let in, or you could stay there alone. Just enjoy it. Just relax. And just be. Now, while you're doing this, I want you to just breathe through your nose and out through your mouth for me. Breathe in and out through your mouth. And breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Continue doing that breathing exercise while you just sit in your safe space or hop around, float around. Think about what you're smelling, what you're seeing, what you're feeling. Let it just fill you up. Any other thoughts trying to come to your mind right now, just let it go. And just stay there in your safe space where nothing bad can happen. Now guys, when you're ready, take a deep breath and let it out. And then you guys can come back. I'm super curious to know how you feel right now.
Honestly relaxed. It it was really good, honestly. Thinking about that whole space where I could be free and comfortable, it was honestly very relaxing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Zion, how about you?
I feel like I could go on another one. Can we do this again?
Yeah, and that's the thing with this, right? You can have multiple safe spaces, right? You can have different things that you want to do, that you want to go to. Anytime you feel stressed out, anytime you feel overwhelmed, go to that safe space. Try it out before you sleep. Just help yourself to relax. These are some really simple things that we can do to just keep ourselves in check. Okay, guys, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Ali. I'd like to put out the the request for comments from the audience. You all can rest your questions and comments on anything that Miss Krista says in the comment section. Zion?
Yes. So I have a question here for you that many teenagers have found themselves in this position during the pandemic. So a lot of teenagers have found that they have to babysit their siblings throughout the day. How do you recommend that they deal with the struggles of dealing with their siblings while managing school?
Oh yeah, that's a toughie because in during this pandemic we all have to learn to adjust, right? And that might be one adjustment that your parents or whomever your guardian is asking of you, right? So it's super important to be able to prioritize, right? And then to multitask, right? Is there some way to be able to babysit and still attend your class, right? Maybe they can be in their class too, or they can be doing something productive, right? But if you guys feel like it's becoming really, really overwhelming, then you have to talk to your parents about it, right? And let them know, this probably can't work out the way that it is, but let's come up with some solutions. Let's see how best we can work around because we all have to make adjustments, right? We know that it's super difficult on you all. It's super difficult. I'm not even sure how you all are managing with all of this online schooling and stuff. I know that it's been a challenge for some people while others love it. Yeah.
I see there's a question. What is your daily success routine?
Oh, that's a good one. I'm a firm believer that experience makes us who we are. So honestly, I wish when I was you guys' age, I had opportunities like this to learn and to hear from all these adults who are doing all these different things, to hear what type of things are they doing to make their lives successful. What I like to do is get up super early. I am a morning person. I know that doesn't work for everybody, but that is just my routine. I get up really, really early and I get some stuff done before my day actually starts. I am a therapist, I'm a psychologist, so that means that I do sessions with children throughout the day. So I usually start those, like, let's say by 9 a.m., but I get so much other work done before that. Another thing that I like to do is keep really, really organized. So on a Sunday evening or a Sunday night, sometime on a Sunday, I actually plan out what my week might look like. As I was saying during the presentation, the things that I know are set in stone, I put that in. So I know these blocks of times, they're accounted for. Then I have to just make do with the rest of my time and get all my other stuff done. So being really, really prepared is definitely one way that I get into that routine of making sure that at the end of the week, most of my goals are achieved. Right. Another really important thing to remember is that some weeks we're not going to get it all done, and that's okay too.
I see we have another question in. How can we have that conversation with our parents when we may need to get them to understand that we need some space or support, so counseling? How do you have that conversation?
Oh, yeah. I know that can be a toughie. Even though we've grown up with our parents for our whole lives, correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes it can kind of be difficult to talk to them, right? Yeah, and sometimes you just don't know how to say it, right? It really all depends on the type of relationship that you have with your parents. I know some kids who can feel really comfortable just going ahead and having that discussion with them. But what about the ones whose parents are less understanding? Right? It's really important to find other ways of getting our message across that's in a healthy way, right? We don't want to be doing, bad things for attention, for mommy and daddy to see, okay, something is wrong with me. No. What we want to do is try different things. Maybe I can write them a letter. And this is something I actually encourage a lot of my kids to do, right? Maybe I can send them a WhatsApp message. We all on social media, right? And that's a that we can, get through to our parents. It's really important though to start the discussion with them and say, hey, I just need 5 minutes of your time where you're gonna listen to me and you're gonna just take me on because this is something really important I wanna talk to you about. I don't really see any parents saying, I don't have time for that. If you bring it across to them in that way, that hey, it's super important. I hope that helps.
I'm sure that was great advice. Nyssa, do you have any questions to jump in?
I see there are many kids that during this pandemic they developed what would be called symptoms of depression and anxiety, not just because of their lack of interaction, but because of their stress put on by their parents and by like their school and their teachers. Do you have any advice for them?
Oh yes, it's really important to reach out, guys. It's really important to know your limits. Know what I'm able to handle on my own, right? It's just some stress that I'm talking about that I can handle on my own. When talk to my causes and get words, I do gain days, right? But when we start feeling like nice symptoms of really going and things like depression, when I'm having panic attacks and anxiety, it's really important to reach out, right? So like I said in the presentation, there's insurance hotline, and also your friends heroes, foundation, any trusted adult to get information on ways to help out.
Okay, thank you, Miss Krista. This session was very valuable and I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you for all the tips, especially those tips on how to change stress from a negative to a positive. Those will really help me. Any last words, Zion?
I must say thank you for this advice, which I am not only going to keep for myself, because in the end, this is something affecting many. So I'm glad that we had the opportunity to have you here and give us these impactful tips, which we can all use to apply in our lives to make ourselves successful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, guys.
And Miss Krista, before wrapping up, is there any last words you'd like to say?
This was so good. Keep at it. Keep doing your best. And remember, never give up. That's it. Just don't give up.